Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn more about the properties of the periodic table. We had a coloring activity and we had a lab, and we've learned, to sum it up, that metals, solids, malleable, shiny, ductile, and they conduct electricity, heat and electricity. And usually metals have few electrons, so they're most likely to lose electrons and become positive. For nonmetal, they're usually gases or brittle solids at room temperature. They're poor conductors of heat and electricity. And they usually have 5, 6, or 7, so they're most likely to gain electrons to get to 8. I'm going to learn about that, and they become negatively charged. Now, we've also learned that semimetals, they share properties. So they might be shiny and not conduct, or dull and conduct. So they share a little bit of the properties. Now, the whole idea behind gaining or losing electron is to get to 8 electrons, and that's called octet. So on the outer shell, to be most stable, we have 8 electrons. We need to have 8 electrons. Noble gases have 8. Hydrogen is the only one that gets maximum of 2. Now, in order to get to 8, atoms tend to gain or lose, and when they gain, they become negative, and when they lose, they become positive. So let's take sodium, for example. Sodium has 2 on the first shell. They have 8 on the second, because they have 11 electrons, and then 1 on the outer shell, which is the valence electrons. Now, to get to 8, it's a lot easier. 8 is the next level. That's the most stable. So to get to 8 and satisfy the octet rule, it's easier to lose 1 than to gain all 7. And when it loses 1, it becomes positive 1. And the positive 1 is also called oxidation number. For magnesium, we have 12 electrons, 2 on the first shell, 8 on the second, so that's 10, and then 2 on the outer shell. It's a lot easier to just lose 2 electrons than to gain 6. So when you lose 2 electrons, it becomes positive 2, and the oxidation number is positive 2. Now, for properties of the nonmetal, we did this. For chlorine, it has 17, so 2 on the first shell, 8, so that's 10, and then 7 on the outer shell. It's a lot easier to gain 1 electron than to lose all 7. And when it gains 1 electron, it becomes negative. So the oxidation number will be negative 1. Okay, so, there's one more. For oxygen, we have 8, so 2 on the first, 6 on the second. And it's a lot easier to gain 2 than lose all 6, so it becomes negative 2. We're going to learn a lot more about this later on. I just wanted to show you why nonmetals gain and why metals lose. Okay, just to satisfy the octet, and we're going to get into that when we get in chapter 8. Also, another thing on your problems were representative. Elements 1A to 8A, everything in the yellow are called representative, and in the transition, they're called transition. And they give you a lot of problems on that to practice for mastering concepts. Let's see.